What's your name?
And
How long have you been here?
19 years.
And it's Eugene it is.
Eugene.
And what mine did you work in, Eugene?
I was working in here.
When was that?
It was, well, it is near 30 years ago. Well, 35 years ago about now.
These coal mines will come.
We should do. Take
Maybe-
fuel and fire.
That's right. Maybe there was a shortage of oil, they would open up again.
Yes, sure. We have fire, haven't we?
We'll have a look at where the mine. Do you
on.
mind? We'll look
Yeah.
up now. All right. We'll only go. What did you say, Eugene?
Shed is up there. The old pit was.
Oh,
So, that's very new.
right. We'll go down now, Erica, where the coal actually came out of the mine down here. Do you notice the statue of the Blessed Virgin there for safety?
Yeah.
I felt looking at the
And
it was
the people.
I find it interesting.
It's very interesting. It's a nice country, and the hills, I like it.
About the mines. What do you think of the coal mines?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you notice the coal came out?
Yes, I can see it.
You,
From Germany, yeah.
and what would they do?
They were living down next door
Right.
a few years ago. So they're left.
They were,
A man or a woman?
Children, yeah.
And children.
Yeah. Don't very often to them.
Yes. The were
Then,
people from Germany here
yeah,
make your holidays here.
oh, a lot of them do, yeah, but he was there for a couple of years,
Oh yes.
and he was farming and just he left.
Yeah.
and when you were working in the mine to go.
Well, as a child, a young fella,
Yes.
you'd be getting 10 shillings a day,
A day.
as I started, as a young fella. And then it's improved a bit as you get older and get more pay.
Right.
Was I never ever killed, but like I never seen them killed, but it happened
That's it.
in bad times. bad air and this that people didn't have.
Here we are in Drumshanbo, County Leitrim, where I spent all of my primary school days. This is Laird's. We used to come here as children for Christmas parties. Wonderful experience. Mr. Laird, the town with electricity. It went off at night and came on in the morning at about 7. We're now going up to one of the Arigna mines, sadly now closed. I was here in July 1990 this year, and it's a bit of film, and I'm going now to take it up at Flynn's mine. I got some film up here on the last day of work in July of this year, and the owner of this mine is long dead. His son is here today. The mine entrance now. See the statue of the Blessed Virgin. Every time miners went into the mine, they prayed for safety, and when they came out, they prayed in thanksgiving. Andrew Flynn, son of the owner, went down into the mine entrance. Coming out of the mine now, Andrew brought me deep into the mine. It was most interesting. And I missed him closing the gates through making a mistake with the film in July, but he's going to do it again for me now. This must be my last see Arigna coal mine gates closing. Andrew closing the gates. There's about 10 more years of mining in this mine. Fortunately, it's very doubtful it will be opened again.
The statue originally was from Irish Mines, which is on the Ballyfarna side, is called Stanton's. And it was nearly stolen a couple of years ago. So we brought it into this here and put it over the eye of the mine. Now the main road, you can see there where the gates are, that's called the Great Road, and that goes into the very end. And you have branches off it then, which are smaller roads, which the men take more of the coal out. It nearly works around a semicircle, the area, for taking the coal. But you have to keep the straight road way ahead of the other roads for the water. The rest of the roads will dry out. Okay?
Tell us a bit about your father's mine here at Arigna.
Father started in Rover originally, which is further down, and then he moved over to Loughaun, which is the far side of the mountain. And he bought this mine then from Mick and Jack Noon, but the day he bought it, the day he died. On the 22nd of November 1969, the day he died. And my uncle took over then, Mick Flynn, who kept the mine going until he died about 6 years ago. And then my cousin Dennis, he was the owner, and he'd taken over the mine until it finished up this year in July. Okay? This is open cast mining now, which was only introduced about the last 13-14 years into Flynn and Leahenny coal mines. This form of taking out coal was very profitable compared to underground mining. That area over there is all where that was the last place that we finished up open cast mining, which we hit a brilliant seam of 2 foot in seam of coal. Okay. Ballyfarna and Keeju is known as Kilronan Parish, and as we see over there you have Kilronan Castle, which is owned by Lord and Lady Kingston. That lake there is Loch Mila. Now the castle is in ruins. They owned Arigna, Ballyfarna and Keeju, and everybody that was in it were tenants, and they had the mining rights and they had fishing rights and land rights to the whole area. Lord and Lady Kingston left the castle in about the early 20th century, and it was taken over then by the British Army and then by the Irish Army, and it was left in ruins. Okay? It's called Stanton's, and further back there's a place that's called Barrykill. It's on the other side of the mountain, where there was an old RIC barracks and Garda barracks.
Probably Barrykill here that Andrew mentioned, in the old RIC barracks. We're going on into Drumshanbo now. There's Slievenearn and Loch Allen in the distance. Here's Tom Joe McCrit coming to ring the bell. When I was a child here, he was a young sexton ringing the bell 3 times a day, but he only now does it at 12 and 6 for the Angelus. Tom Joe, how long have you been ringing the bell here at Drumshanbo? Where you go?
I'm ringing it since 1938.
28?
38.
Right. And you got a medal recently?
I did, from the Pope.
For how many years is that for?
That's for 50 years.
52 years.
Aye.
And you're going to ring it for us now in about a minute, aren't you?
I am.
You
Sure.
got 3, 3, 3...
3 trees and 9. I got must be 12.
On you go now. Here's the convent bell ringing. Slievenearn, the mountain of iron, hangs over the town of Drumshanbo. In cold winters it can be snow-capped many, many times. Franciscan convent, where I served Mass from about the age of 7 until the age of 11. Grave of Master Dodd, who taught me. I remember being at his funeral on a very wet day in November. I see here it's 1942. On here today, the granddaughter of a man called Finn, who used to turn on and off the lights, because we only had electricity up to midnight in those days. That used to be the northern bank when I was here. My father was the manager there for 9 years. Now it's the National Irish Bank. Beautiful big house, high ceilings, large bedrooms, lovely garden. Laird's old mill. They used to make jam here when we were children during the war, when everything was short. We always got Laird's jam. He also ran the electricity for the town, a hydroelectric plant, a small one. Fair Green. Believe it or not, the circus used to be held here. Duffy Circus. You'd wonder now how they ever got a tent to stand up here. The cattle mart. We crossed this little stream 1,000 times every day in the summer, it seemed, catching fish, and everywhere Slievenearn to be seen, overshadowing the town. There used to be a pump standing in the middle of that hill when I was a child, and it was always running down, the water was always running down, and of course in winter it made great slides if there was a frost. I see Kieran's chemist shop and sweet shop and Doherty's meat. Sadly all the Kieran family are now dead. That used to be Doherty's Hall, where concerts were held and films were shown. There was a Ned McGowan showed the pictures there. One projector, you had to wait while he changed the reel for the continuation of the show. Narrow gauge railway ran from here to Arigna and back the other way. Moor. Water tower still standing. The station house. That house belonged to Dr. Flynn when we were here, and I well remember beside that house the lake being frozen over sometime in the early 40s and people cycling on it. The railway crossed the road about here and on out towards Arigna.